2024 has been an interesting year for silver. We have seen its price move well above 30% since the beginning of the year, with a lot of volatility as well in the silver markets. But there's a bigger change happening that could have a big impact on the entire silver market. And the piece of advice I'm going to give you, because of what I'm going to share with you, is to hold on to your silver. You'll thank me later. Let's explore. There's a lot going on in the silver market besides just price. In fact, what I'm going to report to you is a story that I think is going to really make you think that silver's price is going to probably move up dramatically. But alas, I don't think that's going to occur right away. Silver production is being held back as demand is rising. Now, that doesn't make sense, does it? But indeed, that's what they're saying over at Heraeus, what they have been noticing here. Approximately 60% of mined silver production comes from base metal mining. I actually thought it was more than that, primarily as a byproduct of lead, zinc, and copper. But I wonder how much of it is by gold mining. They don't talk about that. That's like where some of the other mix is, because very little silver is produced as a primary silver mining product. The zinc and copper concentrate markets are expected to be in a deficit this year. This is the result of a fall in mine output of zinc and rising smelter capacity in copper as mine supply is increasing. Spot treatment charges offered by smelters to miners for the right to smelt metal concentrates have slipped into negative territory this year. So there is some mining news that I think is going to help us understand what's going on, why less silver is being produced. It's not necessarily because the metal's not available in the ground. It's because of reasons like this. It's rising smelter capacity increasing and spot treatment charges. So it indicates a very tight market for copper and zinc concentrates. Consequently, byproduct silver supply could be constrained, and other areas of silver supply are suffering as well. Peru's silver production has been in a steady decline since 2017, mainly as a result of this closure of primary silver mines. And we know, I've documented on this channel, as well as also in the news, that there has been substantially less primary silver mining. Now, what is primary silver mining? It's not what you think it is. In fact, we discussed this with Keith Newmeyer, who runs First Majestic Silver. He says that if a mine produces 51% silver as opposed to any other metal, that's considered a primary silver mine. It has to be above 50%, essentially, of mining activity to be a primary silver mine, which means that there's less of that happening these days. That means there's a lot less primary silver mining in the 60s, 70s, 80s%. Are there any mining companies left that produce just 100% silver? We know First Majestic also mines gold and other metals as well. Annual production in 2023 of 97.8 million ounces was 41 million ounces lower than in 2017 for primary silver mines. Since the majority of primary silver supply is a byproduct of other metals, it's largely inelastic to the silver price and the apparent deficit between the supply and consumption. Now, why is that? Well, a lot of that is because it's a lot less costly to mine silver because it literally is a byproduct. It's like a bonus. So as a bonus, you get these all-in sustaining costs, which I've talked about in a previous video too, much lower. And when you think about those all-in sustaining costs and the cost that it takes for you to buy it, it makes quite a difference. And this is some of the reason why premiums are so low now. And when the premiums are low and the spot price has dropped, it provides a good opportunity to buy. This video is being sponsored by Bullion.com. Bullion dealer that's a little different than some of the others out there. They have some good deals going on right now that I want to share with you. But before we do that, let's take a look at some of their products. They do carry a wide variety of different products of the most popular types of bullion coins and bars out there. Let's take a look at their silver coins. We can see they have American Eagles and some of their best sellers. And this is an example of what kind of sets them apart. They have the 2024 Silver American Eagle at a pretty competitive price. And they also have random silver eagles here too. That's a very popular seller for a little bit cheaper than that. But what really makes them special is you can actually compare with other bullion dealers right from their page. And this here, they have the lowest price guarantee. You can see the American Silver Eagle. They are beating out Silver Gold Bull and Monument Metals, though not an exhaustive list, this comparison table, but it is essentially gives you an idea and some information that you can use as a benchmark. But they've got a lot of other great products out here. They even have some of their own branded products that you can find out there that they have, which is pretty cool. They've got silver rounds, and they've got their own branded rounds, as you can see there. Pretty cool. I really like their logo, by the way. And they have their bars, and they have rounds, and they also have their 10-ounce bars, or there's a 10-ounce logo, Silver Bull logo bar, and just some competitive prices. But let's look into some of the deals they have. They have deals, weekly deals here that they're showing here, which are really nice. And these are something you can check out every week to see what they've got. And most assuredly, some of these things will even show some of the quantities they have left of a product, so you can take advantage of some pretty low prices there. They also have new customers offers. If you're a new customer, you can take advantage of one of these deals at a time for just first-time customers, like a 1-gram gold bar at spot price. How often do you see that, especially for one of the lowest units of gold that you can get? 1-gram gold bar at spot. That's a great deal. And then you've got a 10-ounce silver bar with a random design for a new customer at spot. You can take advantage of either one of these, but not both. This offer was just posted on their website. So take advantage, if you can, at the spot deals for new customers. It's a great way. Now, they've also been very kind to offer that if you spend $1,000 or more, you can get $10 off of your order. That offer expires at the end of the year. Just put the code SALIVATE when you get to the checkout, and you can take advantage of that. So check out Bullion.com. I'll post a link to their website in the description below. And so with being able to buy silver like at Bullion.com, well, it means that silver demand, going back to our story here, is a forecast to rise by 2% this year to 1,219 million ounces. Some of that very well could be a rise in demand for physical bullion. We've not really seen a substantial large amount of that yet, but it could be coming soon, especially after what I'm going to report to you here in just in a moment. Silver demand is forecast to rise, while supply net of recycling is predicted to contract by 1% year on year. And that's from the Silver Institute, which I know some people have some issues with. But even if you don't believe those numbers, we are getting narrower between the supply and deficit. It's going to get there eventually, even if you don't believe the Silver Institute. Silver demand growth is being driven by solar cell production. We know that's true, especially in China. They're producing so much of it now that some of it is actually being used as fence rows. That's right. They overproduce a lot of stuff, their ghost cities and everything else. So that's what's being driven there. And it's also expected to reach a third consecutive record this year. So they're not slowing down in 2024 in the production of silver. We know that there's a lot of demand for physical silver products in India as well for festival season. And the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party have encouraged their citizens to buy silver too, especially since gold's price is so high. The release valve, this is where it gets interesting. The release valve for the silver market when undersupplied is the large volumes of above ground stocks that can be consumed by industry if required. Let that sink in for a moment. There's a lot of this stuff out there, folks. There's no shortage of it. You can buy it everywhere and anywhere, including Bullion.com. And that is what makes this thing so interesting, is that as long as people are talking about silver shortages, what kind of silver shortage are we talking about? There is a shortage to some degree, at least in part in some aspects of the supply chain for industrial uses in certain aspects. But if it does get bad, there's large volumes of above ground stocks that can be utilized. And yes, I know about the derivatives market with the ETFs, but that market will never be tested because what are ETFs? What are exchange traded products? They simply are exposure to silver's price, not silver itself. Very rarely is that ever tested. Even if you buy the PSLV, what's a Sprot's version of it, it's just highly unlikely that you're going to get the physical for the amount that you put into it. Otherwise, you just buy it from a bullion dealer and probably get it cheaper from a bullion dealer than to get a contract size bar above spot. Global silver bullion inventories are estimated to be around 1,230 million ounces, excluding consumer bars and coins. That excludes consumer bars and coins. And the sufficiently high silver price is needed to incentivize investors to liquidate those physical holdings. So essentially that means bars that are in the COMEX, in the LBMA and the like. But investor bullion bars and coins, those are a lot more of that. It amounts to, as far as investment style or stacking bars and coins, such as you see here, that really amounts to about 25%, I think, of all the holdings out there. 25 or 30% of all the silver out there. Still a lot, a heck of a lot. And a sufficiently high silver price is needed to incentivize these investors to liquidate their physical holdings. Supply is expected to lag demand growth from energy transition demand, so a drawdown of physical stocks may become necessary. That's right, where they need to keep this thing going, they're going to have to delve into those stocks. A squeeze, if you will, on the silver market. That could change everything. Then you will see the prices move. This is supportive over the long term for the silver price. In other words, they're not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, even if some of those stocks are utilized or taken out. But I think that through this time, it behooves us to hold on to our silver, because then, and maybe even only then, will we see true price valuation or true value discovery, rather, of actual physical silver holdings. But we have a long way to go to get there. This is interesting to see how this dynamic could play out, being very supportive for the price over the long term. After failing to break through this resistance, we've seen, that resistance, we're still seeing silver below $32 an ounce as I record this video. We'll see what happens, but fascinating indeed. I think this gives a whole different perspective on the silver market and what's happening there. Very interesting story, very important story. And it just goes to show you what is going to be involved. Already now, with prices, above $30 an ounce, a lot of people are selling smaller, quote, investment grade pieces like this, stacker bars, coins, and rounds. They're selling a lot of that stuff off because, they think, well, hey, I can profit from it, or I can get out, break even, or minimize my losses, some people are saying. I encourage you to hold on to the majority of your stack. Even if you want to take advantage of a higher price, hold on to at least a good portion of your stack. You'll thank me later. But you can thank me now if you want to as well, because it's always a good idea to hold wealth outside of the system. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.